Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole,
Coach Kofia.
And Dion, welcome to Opportunities Over Obstacles.
the podcast where we discuss lessons in motherhood.
Life and business.
Hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
What's up?
that should be the
What's up?
soundtrack to somebody's life. I love it.
Yeah.
Soundtrack of life. What's
Yes.
good? What's good?
What's
Whew.
poppin'? Nothing
It
much.
is popping. And this topic, man, let's just get right into it. Because I loved it when you guys suggested it. Like
Mhm,
I hear, you know how we think of things in either ors?
Mm-hmm.
So
mhm.
here's the thing. I'm going to start the question. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word hustle? Is it
Every,
positive or is it negative?
Oh,
every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
I
What wrong?
really don't know. I would say for the most part, it resonates as a negative
Mm,
term, but there are definitely times where like a little hustle is okay, right? Within
Mhm.
reason. So I don't know if I could say one or the other.
uh, the initial response is no, negative. I would say, well, negative now,
Mhm.
but old me would say positive. It's kind of like when first like kind of introduced to like masculine versus feminine, I realized that I was operating mostly in this masculine space. And then I got introduced to this like hustle versus what's like the it's like hustle versus like just letting things come to you, like being in alignment. And I can see the benefit of both, just like I can see the
Mhm.
benefit of both masculine and feminine. I can see the benefit of having hustle, but not operating 100% always in every area in hustle.
Absolutely.
Like more strategic hustle versus like moving all over the place and doing all the things and staying
You
away
have
from
Right.
it.
no strategy.
Yeah,
You just
Right.
hustling. Mhm.
yeah.
It's about knowing when to, and I know we always talk about turning it on and off. Like there's a time to like
Yeah.
be a little bit more I don't know, is it the word escapes me and I just thought about it when we first started. Come back.
Well,
Circle back.
it reminds me of because when you said a little hustle, it's like when you let's say basketball, for example, there's times when
That's what
they
I
have to
was
be like,
thinking of.
"Hustle,
Yes.
hustle,
Hustle
hustle."
up. Yes.
Yeah,
That's what it
and when I
is.
watch sports with my husband, when he gets mad, he's mad at the coach because he said the
Mhm.
coach is not helping. Let's just say it's a championship. Let's just say basketball, but it could be any sport. He's not helping them to manage their energy because if you have a play, he's like, they're going too fast, they're hustling too hard. They need that coach to tell them, pull back, no, chill, preserve your energy, or like, not everything is a hustle time.
Mhm.
And he'll be mad at the coach, like, I don't blame the players. They're full of adrenaline. They can't think, they're just in the moment. So it
Mhm.
just reminds me of like needing that either outside person or like your own reflections where to check in with yourself. Am I
Absolutely.
like hustling too much? Like, am I just in that space where I'm just hustling with no no reason, no rhyme, nothing?
I think it's about taking initiative. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Like
Initiative
having
versus
um I was going to say versus laziness, but not just because you're not hustling doesn't mean you're lazy, right? It's about using knowing when again, checking in with yourself, being able to like read the situation and know when it's time to just fall back and attract and when it's time to maybe push a little bit harder. But no, you definitely can't. Oh, where'd Sophia go? Yeah, so it's definitely a difference between taking initiative and not saying that if you don't hustle that you're lazy, but like the polar opposite of that is someone who just expects. I mean, I don't know, is it entitlement? And I know entitlement, we've had discussions about that. But
Mhm.
like there are people who
Flipping
really
it,
feel like I don't have to work, like, stuff is gonna fall in my lap. Like we all know people who, so it's
and
about
the
being
weird
able
thing
to.
is,
Mhm.
I feel like lazy people are never concerned. The people who are questioning if they're lazy are not. They're hard workers. Lazy people
Mm,
are not. It's just like I tell people, bad parents don't sit there and say, "Oh my God, how am I as a parent?" Like they just
right, right,
beating their
right.
kids and going about their day. So I
True.
feel like the people that are questioning if they're lazy, at least in my experience observing and working with people, it's like they are some of the hardest workers and they're the harshest on themselves.
Mhm.
Mm.
Therefore, they don't take breaks. But the lazy folks are never sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm lazy."
Oh
They're
no.
Never.
they're
Never.
just like,
They do a little bit of work and it's like, ooh,
"Ooh,
ooh,
child."
we need a break. Now I also believe in working smarter. I think there's,
Mhm.
but I think it took me, especially like professionally, it took me some years to hone my craft and become really, really good at what I do. Where now I'm like, yeah, like I've proven myself, right?
Mhm.
So there's something to the application of what we learn in school, I think, at least in my profession, and then you can, you know, it's kind of a rite of passage
People don't want to
almost.
pay dues anymore
That's what it is. It's paying of the dues. Yes.
and
Mhm.
no respect.
Mhm. Mhm.
I see. I have to say more about the paying dues because when I first heard it, I'm like, I don't want to pay dues either. So y'all got to tell me more about what you mean.
People don't wanna
Um,
pay them, but, like, if you look at anything that you're gonna be excellent in, as far as the practice of it,
mhm.
it literally takes practice, and I
Okay.
feel like paying dues is like the reps.
Okay. Okay.
Right,
So
right.
then it's the consistency. Then it's like
Consistency.
okay. And what
Mhm.
I was thinking when you guys were both talking was I think you start off hustling, maybe like you start off hustling, but then it gets to a point where it becomes so a part of who you are that you do it with more of an ease. Um, like, and maybe that's a part of like what you guys are talking about, like the rite of passage. Like you have to do it consistently over time. But when you first start it, it does feel like going uphill because it seems like it's so much. But once you kind of get through that initial stage of breaking through, then
Mhm.
it becomes easier, I think.
Mhm.
So,
I
and
think
I
people
think we
don't
can look at
yeah,
that as hustle to some degree. I think we have to
the
define hustle.
uphill. Okay, that's alright, so back it
Mhm.
up. What is hustle? Well, then that goes to what you said. What do we think of? We might all be thinking different things.
Right, of hustle.
Alright,
There's so many. I think it
let's
totally
look it up.
depends on the context. Like when I think of hustle, I think of the grind and chasing that, and that's why I said, well, it's mostly negative, but there are some instances, like you said, in sports where I'm like, it's okay to hustle up sometimes. Like that's how like the Chiefs clearly didn't hustle up enough to beat
Oh,
us in the Super
we
Bowl.
They
gonna
just
go
gave
there.
up.
Is that what we're
So
doing?
I was like,
Oh my
are
gosh.
we here? Are you showing up?
Uh, on the podcast recording, the
Okay.
shade,
I had to get a little dig in, just a little
the
dig.
shade. Oh
Oh,
my
listen,
god.
we still talking smack over here in Pennsylvania, and Asa is, oh my gosh, she's like, Mom, can you please stop? No, I will
Oh
not.
my
Oh, he's
goodness.
not switching teams
He is
yet?
not switching teams, and he will not listen.
We
All
know
his Chief
better.
stuff, he will not wear out the house.
We
He
were.
has it. Listen, I'm like, you got to talk to
Stand
somebody.
on business. Tell them, "Look, they
I,
might
s-
win next year."
I said, all that smack you talk around here, like, use that water bottle at school in your little backpack. But yeah, maybe
All
y'all will hustle up enough next time.
wait a minute. They were in New Orleans, and I truly believe somebody put some witchcraft on them. Like straight up, legit.
How? Wait.
I don't care what nobody say. There's no way.
So, if we were to use that analogy, I think the team was too comfortable and they were expecting to play an opponent that was of the same caliber as last time. And so,
Mm.
hustle in that context would have been really good. I don't know. Hustle, a little bit of strategy, right? Like we talked about.
And
I honestly
have
think.
they dealt with a lot of adversity? I don't know. Sometimes when you haven't faced
Mm,
a lot of adversity, it can be hard to know how to be resilient in the moment.
it's the resilience. Go birds, underdogs.
Yeah, I don't.
Go
But
get
I
I
them,
was
get
don't
your
trying
know.
to
family.
convince
Look,
that
I
that was drugs.
admittedly I have
So
no
I
idea.
can't even wrap my mind around trying to admit that we should have hustled more. Like when I genuinely believe there, like it was so crazy. Like it had to be some type of like I legit believe it was
They did
witchcraft.
look like
So
deer in headlights, like
it
kind of
Y'all
because
came
it
here
was
like
just like
la di da. It's going to be another, like we're skipping through the daisies, and we were just like,
our
y'all get
Super
y'all
Bowl
behind.
ring.
Yeah, even my husband, who does not really watch football anymore, he's still anti NFL. He texted me like, "What's the score?" And I showed him a picture. He was like, "Send me this meme." Like, what? It's
Like
the
the
third
upside down.
quarter.
the response of someone being drugged. Right,
Oh
exactly.
my
So
gosh.
yes.
Okay, that's the
We have to
story we're
find a
sticking with.
different analogy to use because I
Look,
can't
who
even
was I
fathom.
talking to? This lady, one of the they were this person was like, "I never talk about religion, politics, or sports because
Yeah,
she
yeah,
said you will alienate some of your." I said, "What?"
yeah. And you lose relationships. People will like for
Yeah,
real cut you off based on whatever you believe around those three topics. To be like, you look up, you ain't got no friends left. Like, wait up.
right. You
You're
just
like,
on an
"Damn."
island. You ain't got
That's why
nobody.
Asa said, "Look, I'm staying in the house with this ransom."
Actually, I haven't cracked the joke this week, so that's my reminder to do that
Set the
tonight.
alarm. But I
Oh,
think where people the downfall is that people don't like to be uncomfortable. Because I
yeah,
was telling who was I talking to? My mom or my daughter, one of them. And I was like, when I look at people who are stuck, like not we all get stuck, but like, perennially stuck, it's because they are avoiding discomfort. They're
yeah,
avoiding whether it's the whether on any plane, it's the discomfort of doing
whatever it is.
something is gonna push them. So
Mhm.
maybe hustle, the good part of hustle or adversity is like you have to just get uncomfortable for
It's
a
going to
while.
stretch you. It is
Yeah.
absolutely going to stretch you.
Yeah.
And like if you're just constantly wanting to just like, no, that's too much. I can't do that. Then no, you're never gonna like I think for me that's what the paying dues is
Yeah,
getting uncomfortable
Yeah.
yeah.
repeatedly.
And
I think
once,
there's motivation too in there's some type of motivation and energy into hustle. And maybe that's what people probably need to lean into.
Learn.
The
Mhm.
people
mhm,
who are uncomfortable being in discomfort, if you lean, the hustle can get them started.
Yeah.
mhm,
The hustle can
Something
be
to
the way
like
that they
pump you
break
up.
in, yeah, to
yeah,
break into it. But then after that hustle is over, you kind of come down off that high. It's like, okay, now you have to,
Yeah.
you got to work for real,
mhm,
which is
mm,
going to be different for them because, and I think Myron talks about this too. He talks about how it's just so much easier to work our physical body than it is to work our mental, like our mind.
Mhm.
Like people would
mm,
much rather do physical labor than they would using our brains to like think through problems and solve them for other people. It just takes
Mhm.
it takes a lot of energy,
Yeah.
but it's
that's
so
true.
100.
yeah, we overlook it.
So on the other side of this though, like what about this whole concept of like, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead? like yeah,
Crazy.
there's a tenacity that comes along with the hustle, but then is it too much hustle? Like, is that such a thing? Like,
Yeah, they're confusing physical abuse of themselves with hustle and like, moving forward. Because
Productivity.
mm,
yeah, product, that's the word.
that's what it is. You're running in
Yeah.
place and not,
Because your
Mm-mm.
yeah,
brain just neurologically, if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, if you're not having adequate breaks, your brain is not functioning well. So you
Yeah.
could be hustling and you're like a crackhead because you're just all over the place. You know how you just see them like it's like, okay, what are you doing?
zombie. No, and
Strung
I
out.
laugh because that was hubby when this is before we had kids and he
Wait,
was
what?
doing shift work. He
Wait,
was doing
you talking
shift
about he was
work.
strung out? Like, wait a
No, no,
minute.
no. I'm like a zombie. Like he
Oh,
he was
okay.
doing shift work. So he would work
So
third shift.
which
And
is
then we
12
try,
to
like
late
11
at
to
night.
7.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we try to, do stuff during the day and appointments and all that. And then by like 1 o'clock, he's like, I'm like, dude, just take it down. Just go to bed. And then there's this, I think, a badge of honor that comes along with being a hard worker. Being a hard worker is a good thing in terms of the initiative and the hunger and being able to put the reps in. But then it's like, do you want to be a workhorse too? Like, I don't know. Is that,
Yeah.
like you said, you're just doing the busy work, but that's not,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I'm
I
like,
think
can
we
you
got
do it? Mhm.
no, go for I'm sorry.
No, my thought is that's why I'm always thinking about like, okay, working smarter because at some point, if that whole sleep when you're dead, if that's your mantra, you're going to like burn out. You're going to crash and burn.
Mhm. And
So,
even athletes can't I love sports as a metaphor for everything in life. Like, they have to rest.
Yeah.
They can't they literally you could take the best athlete, if they don't pause and rest and get
mhm,
recovery, I don't care how great they are,
yeah,
they're not gonna perform.
yeah.
Makes so much sense. Like, but I think, do we have to kill the whole, I think we have to completely like demolish that whole hard work, because do you really need to work hard, like in the sense of how we have known it to be? And does it
No,
have to be a hard, like, because I think we try to, like, for me it's hard for me to get to this mindset of working smarter while also keeping the mindset of working hard, because when I work smarter it doesn't feel hard, so
yeah,
then I feel bad for not working
let me look
hard.
that up.
Oh
Mhm.
no, I never feel bad for not working hard because
I'm not saying
again,
you do, but
oh,
I'm just saying for people it might be a conflict.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
because 'cause
I
I'm
think
looking up hard when you say that.
yeah, I think when we look at it in the context of putting in reps and building muscle, and I'm just using like career wise as an example, there is a sense of pride that comes along with saying like, okay, I because I understand the inner workings of a thing, right? So for
Mhm.
instance, you know, what's a good example? So like it's like my kids with their chores. Like, yeah, we do have a cleaning service, but you need to learn how to clean your room. Like that's a that's a skill one I think you should have. And how do you know if someone, even if you do work smarter, outsource it, how do you know it's being done right? Like you have to be able to there's value for me in knowing like the on the ground building of a thing and also like, okay, now I can sit back and enjoy the I don't know. That's just
But
hmm,
I like
did I
when
explain
you're
that right?
asking about language, because every time
Mhm.
you guys say something, I go and look it up. Because
Mhm.
what she's saying is, it's like we have this like opposites can't coexist like that. So how are you working smarter? Like, we need
and,
to change
and
the word from hard.
that's what I mean,
Mhm.
because when we identify with working hard,
Mhm.
when we work in our gifts and it feels easy and we flowing and we putting in reps, part of that is facing this whole belief that it needs to be hard. Like, how am I working
Mhm.
hard if I'm putting in, like, how am I working hard if I'm putting in reps? Like everything that you explained, as far as like feeling a sense of pride, a sense of like accomplishment from being a part of something that gets completed, with the boots on the ground part. But like, is that working hard though?
Mhm. I get it. No.
From the sense of taking and that's why I always say, what is the context of the thing, right? Like I
Well, what
can
is the
say,
definition of hard? I think that's
Force. It says
well, it could be difficult. I'll look at I'll let Nicole read
no,
it.
go ahead. For you, what does it
I'm
mean?
thinking of difficulty, right? It's a lot of different components, right? Hard isn't a singular facet. It's um for me, it's mental load, it's time, it's like how does it affect me physically? So definitely from a physical standpoint, I'm going to try to figure out a way to get something done in a way that doesn't exhaust me because I do have to take care of my body, right? So
Mhm.
it
But most stress in the modern world is mental. It's
mhm,
it's like we're not really honestly, most of us, I'm not gonna say, but like the average person we running into is not doing a lot of physical hard work. but for
Mhm.
some reason we're more all over the place and stressed out than any the people that were hunting and like
Oh, yeah.
agriculture.
Mhm.
And it makes me think because my husband, he's not from here, and he totally feels like the Western way of working is completely bonkers. And they
I
do
agree.
agriculture. His dad is 70 and still does a lot of like physical work, but they're
Mhm.
not tired and exhausted, and they don't think of it, like you said, Kofia, of hard work.
Mhm.
I have
Mhm.
to ask him exactly what is the term, but it's like the hardness, I think, for the people that we as coaches are trying to get into being more like at ease, if they got to let go of the hardness of it,
Mhm.
Mhm.
because they're probably seeing it as that's the
The
virtuous
difficult.
part.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
well,
Yes. Yes.
the
Mhm.
difficult, yeah.
There's virtue in doing
And the
hard
struggle.
things, like the
Struggle.
struggle. Yes.
Mhm.
And it even
Right.
goes back to like weight loss, feeling like, I think I said in one of my videos, like, you don't have to do the hardest thing just to say that you did it. Like, it does, like,
Yep.
really. And I
Mhm.
think that is so counterculture because everybody wants you need to work for what you get. You
Pull
need to,
yourself up by
you,
the straps. Off the
yeah. And it's
straps. Yeah.
like the parents that want the kids to work hard and, like, is that really what we want to pass on? And I'm not saying that we're not all thinking the same. Like, I believe that we have the same motives as far as like wanting to
The
grow.
best.
I,
Mhm.
but I believe that we don't recognize how the language that we use affects our ability to grow. And so when we break down the words and the mindset and let go, it's so much easier to move forward and flow, like,
Mhm.
and operate in that place.
I
'Cause they're letting
understand,
go. Mhm.
but I think it's the stigma around hard work and the stigma around hustling. The same way we had the conversation about aging, like the like it's what the individual's perspective is on it, and
Mm-hmm.
I can acknowledge it's not mutually, exclusive. Like, I can acknowledge, um, the honing of my craft or being able to like I'm a creative. So for me, I need to be able to in my profession show that I can do the thing. But now that I'm at the stage in my career, it's like I've already proven that and I don't even want to say put that out there, but um I don't know.
Well,
I think
this is
I don't think I
mhm.
have to choose, right? Do I have to choose? Do I have to can I use it in a particular context that works for a situation? That's kind of where my mind is right now.
I mean, of course, you could do
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. Like, you,
Well, not literally, but, like, that's
Like, but
just,
if
like, the
we were
rhetorical.
coaching somebody who was stuck, I would probably wanna dig a little bit
deeper.
into that thing that they're like, "Oh, this is what I do." I
Mhm.
wanna kind of, like, peel that back a little bit. 'Cause, like, when I
Mhm,
think of what I'm trying when you know how we observe our kids, and as they get older, we see them, and it's not that I want and I started changing the language. It's not like work hard, but I want them to have the ability to sit and focus and keep going at a thing even when it feels
yes,
difficult. Like,
uncomfortable.
say, we're
Mhm,
doing math, we're doing science, we're writing an essay. Like, to not keep stopping because you feel like you, quote, "can't do it." And so I started getting real nuanced with them with the language. Like, it's like I was telling my daughter, the ability to focus you're going to have a skill that 95% of adults won't
mhm,
have
Yeah.
because
yeah,
of the world we live in now. Like,
Yeah.
if you could literally sit and say look at something that you don't know how to do and still sit there and have the, if you will call it motivation or inner drive to just
mhm,
be okay with the uncertainty and think about
yes,
different that's going to get like it's like you said what Myron said. We don't need them sitting there like, hammering stuff. They need to know how to what did he say? What did you call it?
Oh, he just use your mind, like, be able
Mhm.
to, like, use your mind versus work your mind versus being able to work your body
Mhm.
and being able to use it. And when you were talking, it's like use it to critically think, use it to problem solve, use it
Problem
to
solve,
It's the
yeah.
turn,
problem
like
solving.
use it to
Absolutely.
know how to turn it on and turn it off, as far as like what you need to deal with in this moment. Even stress, like if you don't have the strength in your mind to know when to stop, like you will be stressed out. And you don't, if you don't know how to turn your mind off, which I don't think a lot of people know how to do, like
Hmm.
you're going to kill yourself from stress.
Yeah.
And
And be
so it's
wondering
like,
why your
and
heart and all that stuff is
Yeah.
and you
I,
don't have to, that's the thing. But we don't give enough. I mean, look, think about it in coaching, right? We say, okay, you can get the play all day, but if you don't have the right mindset, then you're not
mhm.
going to be able to execute on the thing. And so it's like, okay, having the right mindset for me, and what if I was talking to my daughters or whoever, I would say, look, in order for you to have the right mindset for this, there's going to be some habit, like you're going to have to break down some of these
habits.
beliefs
Okay, yeah.
Right.
and language.
Yeah.
So
And the turning on and off, that's kind of, I think I said that at the top, but like that's a good point. Like people are like, okay, I know I got to turn off the hustle, turn it on off, but like how does one do that?
Because
mhm.
it's part of their identity, so it's hard.
Mhm.
They can't.
Right,
Right. So how do
just
they
like
begin to separate, come out of that?
it's painful
Well, go
because
to these
Mhm.
websites.
right. Facts, facts,
But
facts.
then, yeah, yeah, y'all change y'all headers.
Oh,
Y'all
yeah.
But
Oh, look. Dion is the only one.
but just
work at
put
EFL.
www on the front part and .com on the last part, and
Yes,
you'll get,
exactly.
then
For
you'll
all
get
of these.
there.
Seriously,
Get
But
because
help.
that's the other thing. All of these hard workers never want help from anybody. Again, look at your top athletes. They all have coaches, multiple types
Mhm.
of coaches. Now, if Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, the top people ever, if they can be coached, why can't we? Why can't Sally Mae or, Bob Barker or whoever it is?
Sally Mae
Bob
was like,
Barker.
right. She Nicole,
What?
Lord,
I didn't
I
want to
don't
say
know.
a black name and people say, "Oh, I'm just Bonquisha or whatever."
Oh
Like, why
Lord.
can't
I
why
literally just
can't we
had
get
that
help?
conversation today with my direct
Who?
report
Oh,
at
he
work. And he will muddle through something like, and I know by the time he comes to me with something, it's like, and I'm like, well, I can't say his
overwhelmed.
name, but I'm like, when you are struggling with said person or if you're in this situation, like tag me in. Because if you don't speak up, I'm just going to assume you got it. So
Mhm.
you over here drowning for what? And you can physically see on his face sometimes, like walk into a room, I'm like, you are stressed, dude. And then we have to Nicole, we have to talk about boundaries. And he has
You
terrible
gotta let these
boundaries.
people
He does
know.
not,
Like,
yeah. So this whole
I think it's a
idea,
trauma response. Look, I
he does
don't.
not have boundaries. He does not know how to say no. And then it's like, oh, this person. I'm like, okay, so talk me through the sequence of events. What happened? What was the conversation? And myself and my colleague today, we were like, well, yeah, at this juncture, it might have been helpful to say this. And he was like, oh, yeah. So it's like this rabbit hole. And I think he feels very passionate about the work, which is great. But I'm like, now you're going to be burned out because you're trying to appease this person. And then you're like, well, over here it's just this one time. And then it turns into like 200 times and you're burned out.
Mhm.
he
So
was
get the
probably
help, people.
criticized a lot, as a child for not getting it
Perfectionist.
right. Yeah.
Perfectionist. And I'm like,
Mhm.
dude, in this work, just do the best you can. Like, it's not the end of the world, and it definitely shows up in the professional space. He's like, no, that's why I'm here. This is why God has me here because I know this is
Mm.
like a thing.
Yeah. That's so good
So,
though.
That is
yeah,
good. He recognizes that he needs to make the.
yeah,
That
Because
is
a
yeah,
lot of people won't accept the help. So I guess that's part of the working hard, not smart, when it's like you just want to muddle through and
good.
not
hmm.
get help, not,
Mhm.
you know.
So, how does one know that it's time to get help? Like, what are the signs? Like, I know for me what the signs were, but like
Hmm.
when you've been
Everybody needs
hustling and
help.
doing it yourself for so long, how
I
do you
think you
know?
should always just have help. Like,
Yeah.
why doesn't
It should,
everybody,
right,
right, get a
right.
coach or some kind of something like, what is it? The life unexamined is not a fulfilled life. Like, why are you thinking it
Mhm.
has to be this huge crash?
You have to be in
Well,
crisis mode to then
Yeah,
decide, "Oh, I need help."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
I
what
mean,
I can't stand when people refer people to me and it's been 10, 15 years and now that it's the person is in jail or something, then it's like you
Something
calling
major.
me at midnight.
right.
I'm like, "Wait a minute. I
Not
just
midnight. Oh,
look, the
listen, ringer is off. Leave a message.
but it's just like, why do we wait until our cholesterol is 500 or whatever the numbers
Because
are?"
we don't want to be labeled
Yeah.
lazy. We don't want to be labeled lazy. We don't want to be disappointed because we've asked for help and people didn't show
They
up,
reject us.
or we feel abandoned and had to do it by ourselves, or we were raised from parents who made you so independent that
Hmm.
you have no idea like the benefit, the joy that comes from being able to relax and depend on somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my health journey, and I don't even think it was really seeing those numbers. And I was like, I didn't even realize because it was just my norm. That was like my baseline. Um,
Yeah, okay, so
yeah,
the in your
the num
face.
yeah, the numbers, and then in my business, I think I got tired of trying to figure this thing out on my own. Like, it's like when you see someone and you're like, "Why don't you let me help you?" And it's like, "No, no, no." And like sometimes they've got to want it. Like I was at the point where I was like, why am I in business? I'm not making no money. Like this is
So
like I
again, the
loved,
numbers, Dion,
right.
the
I
numbers.
loved the numbers. I was like, like the expenses are actually more than what I'm bringing in right now.
Yes.
So yeah, so it was the physical, like my physical numbers, like my health, then it was the money, and I got frustrated with trying to figure it out on my own. So I was like, this is taking up too much of my mind space.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then again, it was like the time, as far as like how I set things up in my business and the business structure, because I was like, I'm stretched thin, and this isn't starting to feel. This is not feeling
It's not
like this. Does not
fulfilling
feel
and
good. It's not
yeah,
fulfilling. Too
yeah.
much of a chore. Yeah.
And I
Mm.
know I feed off of enthusiasm. Like I'm in like what 3 different communities now, but it's like they've been like Nicole is just like I need to be around
Yeah.
excitement. I don't know if is that could be an addiction I have, but like I can't be around very dry things, especially when I'm trying to get in my zone and get over my insecurities and all that stuff of like what
Mhm.
I'm trying to do. So I just like I love to be around a person or people that because like if you look at stuff that we're doing, it's like 1 or 2% of people. So if you think you're just gonna walk out and find somebody doing that, no, you have to like get
Perfect.
around people, yeah,
Yeah,
or a person or somebody to help you.
that's true.
Mhm.
Community is everything.
Mhm.
I do miss that. I said, I don't know about this year because life, but I have not. I'm still eyeing a few communities because I really do miss being around,
Like-minded.
Mhm.
like-minded people. I mean, of course, I have you ladies, but
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. I don't know. I got
So
a
are we
couple friends.
hustling or are we not hustling?
We
for the most part, at this big age, no, I am not.
Now with ladies, what and not you guys, but the listeners, what we all need to be hustling for. No, that's not the right term, but we need to be working hard for our relationships. Why do we
Mm,
work hard for all this stuff? But then oh my God, I saw this hilarious video. My husband sent it. It was this Nigerian man, his wife which came from out shopping. She had her little purse, her outfit, and her wig. She came in the house and took the wig off. He said, "No, put it back. Put it back on." Why are you going outside? It was like a joke. It's like, why are you
yeah,
outside looking your best? And then
right.
when it comes, you come in the house.
right. You
Looking
got your rags
ragamuffin.
on.
He said, "Put that wig back on." And
I don't know because some of these guys talking about the moo and the bonnets. I
that's how
They
mean,
be
grandma
feeling
got
it.
25
that's
kids.
how that's how
Yeah.
my grandmother at 16. I mean, something was working. She ain't had no money for no lingerie.
Oh
But
wow.
she was cooking. There was something she did that grandpa.
Oh, honey.
It
Yeah.
was more than something. No.
Ironically, their names are Abraham and Sarah. So go figure.
Your grandfather and grandma on
My
your dad?
mother's parents, Abraham and Sarah.
That's dope.
Wow.
Yep.
That's so
They were
I
dope.
was like, y'all had a
destined.
whole bunch of kids too.
Listen, be the father of nations. Okay. He said, let me put this into law.
Go be fruitful.
Okay.
That is deep. That
Wow.
is deep.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot that. Sometimes I have to say that out loud. Like, yeah, my grandparents were Abraham and Sarah. That's so true.
Yes. Yes.
Mm. So are we, I guess we not hustling. We decided we're not
No. No. I
hustling.
never saw good examples
Mm,
of like some of my most
that's
I love my mentors that Black women and others, but it never looked appealing because you would go, you know how you go to somebody, they're in the office till 7, their desk is a mess, lunch
mm-mm,
from earlier. It's like, no, that's hustling. And I don't
right.
think
Mhm.
that's good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Agreed.
All right. 3
Bernie,
out
get
of
the
3.
right.
So you guys tell us what you think in the comments. Are you
Hmm.
still in hustle mode? Were you had the silver spoon, so you never had to hustle? Or are you
The silver
transitioning to
spoon. Oh my. I mean,
See, even the way we describe somebody who doesn't have to hustle comes off in a negative connotation.
right.
We say
why was
silver.
I have a silver spoon?
I
They
know,
bought me one.
but what I'm
Listen,
saying, like most people don't
Yes,
don't relate that, you know?
right, right. Like it's
that's
that
true.
meme that says my toxic trait is calling my kids spoiled, but then realizing I'm the one that spoils them.
Yeah.
Like it's not
They were
like
like, "Mommy, but you're the one that
I know,
you
and I
gave me
totally
the."
and I it's totally my fault. It's
Mhm.
and I'm
I
like,
agree.
I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. Like I feel as especially as a parent, like it's that balance of I want them to understand the value of a dollar, of course, right? But I'm also not going to walk around like you got McDonald's money. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that
Old
parent.
school parenting,
Matter of
yes.
fact, let's order. Yes, I'm hungry too. I want a salad, please.
Not McDonald's. We
Well,
call it
not
Wendy's.
McDonald's, but
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 like
like,
you
yeah.
know, our parents would tell us, "You got McDonald's
Right.
money. You got money for
Yeah.
that." And it's like, well, we
I
ain't going
believe
to go homeless this month because we went to Mickey D's.
I mean, I don't know. We might have though. Like really, if we think about it, like the coming from a poverty mentality, and or you really trying to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right, right.
Look,
That
we
goes
eating
back
at
to
home.
that the mindset, right? The being postured to
Yeah.
attract. Like money
yeah,
money is going to flow to me. So I'm like, okay, but something
this
we want,
Happy
go on and
Meal
get
is
it.
not gonna,
Listen,
look, we went out last night and Worry, my daughter, she loves caviar.
I
Last night
saw
she had
that.
filet mignon
Come
and
on,
she
Rory.
had macaroni and cheese with truffles. And I said, "Oh my God, your
Yes.
husband, we need to prepare him because he." And she said, "Well, I can buy it." I said, "No, he will buy it. You let him know that
Hmm.
these are your tastes."
Yeah.
And she thought I was teasing her too bad, but Bati ordered chicken fingers. Her and her dad ordered the filet mignon, but she had the children's sides.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, "Worry, okay." And we were in Whole Foods. The guy, she said, "Oh, caviar," and this man turned around like, "What?"
That's right. That's
But when
right.
you haven't experienced that, like my very first time that I can remember as an adult, going to a restaurant that somebody else was going to pay for me or me pay for myself
Mhm.
and not order based on price. Like it was
Mm.
like I remember like it was legit. Okay, we in a restaurant with Coach Kelly.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Coach Kelly,
And
AJ,
Yep.
Tanisha, and I think it was a couple of maybe Coach Rocky. And I
in
just remember
Tulum, or oh no, you guys
no,
were
we were
in.
in I think we're in Vegas.
Okay.
Oh,
And
Vegas. Okay.
I'm asking Tanisha, is there a budget? Like is there a limit? And she was like, nah, just get whatever you want. And I was like, what?
You mean like the
People do
soda and the appetizer?
Listen, that's
But
how my child orders when we go out. Homie's going to get like a
he's like, "I'm
fancy.
not sharing."
Yeah, he's like, "Can I get a virgin pina colada?" This is my 11-year-old. "Can I get a virgin pina colada?" He wants an appetizer that he's not going to share, plus an entree and dessert
No
and
family
probably something to
style.
go. People are like, "Dude, where's all this going?"
that. But
Yes.
that's the thing. We gotta expose our kids to,
Mhm.
or if you never exposed to it, it's like you can't pass that down. Like, how do you
Yeah.
teach them that if that's not your norm, you know?
But
Right.
even being aware that, like, of anybody's own money trauma, it can help, you know what I mean? Like to not pass certain, not that you're going and splurging on everything, but just not to pass down certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
boyfriend is very good at it. I
Oh,
just
wait. Run it back. Run it back.
my boyfriend is very good at it. The girls like, can we go out with so and so today? Because they know he's not. There's no limit. They can get whatever they want. They can have, like you said, the appetizer, the dessert, the drinks. Different.
Listen,
You can order 2 different entrees if you're not sure. I'm like, oh my
And
gosh,
don't
how
worry
you gonna
about you
keep
have to
up with
scrape
this?
everything off your plate because you ordered that.
yes.
That is so good because
It's
I was
cool.
listening to this podcast, this lady I love, and she said, deserving is the entitlement of the deprived. Meaning,
Wait,
when you have been
Mm,
deprived, you hear how I deserve this. That's still from a
it's
wounded place.
standard. Yeah.
You're talk as opposed to like what you desire, what you want.
mm-hmm.
And because she
I
was
just be
working
like,
with
I
the
want it.
couple.
I don't like
Yeah.
this is that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Mm,
sometimes we are like, once you come out of that trauma, you still are like, I deserve to have this and I deserve,
yeah.
and it's like it's just the other side.
I like when Nicole gets that like aggressive grit in her voice. I deserve.
Where
Look,
she making fun of somebody like on the low.
okay, that's why I said Bob Barker. Or what did I say, Sally Mae?
Is that your masculine woman impression?
Yes. Look, what was the one? It was, you were telling me it was one of those sound bites on Instagram. I
Ooh.
don't wanna.
Oh,
I
I ain't
don't
gonna
want to
cook.
smoke. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
want to drink. I don't want.
Oh,
And it's like your man got to listen to that. Ooh, child. Oof.
oh my
Oh
gosh.
my gosh. But I love the conversation around, and maybe we can record that. That can be another topic of like exposing our children to
Mm-hmm.
certain things and being mindful of like what we're passing down. I think that's so good. Oh my gosh.
Maybe we could next episode we could come up with like, okay, everybody come up with your own list of
Mhm.
traumas or maybe
Mm.
lessons or mistakes that you're wanting to avoid, and then we list them off, and then just see how many of them that we have the same or different or whatever.
Oh, that's good. That's a good exercise, first of all. Like,
Okay, I'm writing it down. The
okay.
10 list of 10 traumas that you wanted to stop with you or whatever you don't
Yeah,
want to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or beliefs or whatever.
All
Because
Mine.
my
right.
child came to me this morning and said, "You know that boy? No, yeah, the boy so and so who I had a crush on." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Well, it's not him anymore. I like this other guy." I was like,
Yeah, they bold with it.
first of all, it scares me out of my mind. But I'm like, my child is comfortable enough to come to me and tell me. So
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so tell me about him. Well, he's very handsome. I said, okay, so outside of being nice looking, which that's nice, but, like, what makes him special? So then
Right.
it's like, what are the traits you're looking like, how like, tell me about him. And
What
she's
are
like,
his red
"Well,"
flags?
yeah, she said, "Well, he has very good posture." I said, "Okay, so what does that mean to you? What does that tell you?" "It tells me that he's very proud." And I said, "You mean, like, confident?" She's like,
Mm,
"Yeah. And when we're on the playground, he's very serious, and because I know he's
mm.
confident, if somebody's picking on me, he's gonna come to defend."
Protector.
I was like, "So he's
Oh.
gonna come to your defense, right?" So,
Yeah.
even having those conversations, like, my parents never it was like, "Don't do this," and then that's the end of the story. But I'm
Mhm.
like, "You know what? If she's
Yeah.
open enough to like, let's talk about the traits. Like,
Yes.
what do you like about your dad that you see in him? What do
Mm-hmm.
you like about God that you see in him?" And so
Mm-hmm.
she's like, first of all, she's all into Bible study and stuff now, which is another conversation. Well, God is very patient. I'm like, okay, so a gentleman is not going to rush you,
Right.
right?
To
And I'm
take
like,
off them panties.
right. And also, just because that's your crush, you can
Yes.
feel that way, but that's not your boyfriend. We don't kiss,
Mhm.
hug, the holding hand, like none of that. She's like, "Well, I hold hands with my one friend, so and so, that's like
Yeah.
a girl." And I'm like, "Okay, well." So then we start talking about the differences, and it just turned into this whole thing about what are you looking for in a potential mate. So that was like, I just had a whole conversation about that with an 8-year-old.
That
I
is
was
so
like,
Yeah.
good.
without bawling, and I wanted to
Yes.
cry so bad, and I was just like, "She's," and it just flowed, like, it was just
Yeah.
a beautiful moment, so and I'm
Awesome.
like,
And she
"Yeah, no."
probably could tell, like, his seriousness, he because I was telling my kids the all the class clowns, we know where they ended up.
Mm,
Nowhere. They're still, so she can see his seriousness. He's going to also be able to provide for her.
right. But when she said his posture, I was like,
Well,
paying
she
attention to
look.
the way the boy sit? She was like,
Okay.
yeah, he sits like, and she was like imitating him. Like, I'm like, well, what does that
Yes.
mean? So we were like drilling down a little bit, and I'm trying to help her connect the dots to like, this could be a sign of this, and that
Yeah.
could be a good thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's
I
awesome.
was,
Okay, Bree. Okay. Now, did
oh
you tell
God,
your husband does he know about this? Now he does.
no, oh Lord, yeah,
Before this come out, then just have the conversation.
yeah,
List
because
of things.
No,
all I
honey.
gotta say is springtime and the flowers ain't the only thing blooming. So we just over here, I think he's losing his mind. Like, what? Who is this little girl? Like she's getting
Aw.
curves and she's maturing. And I'm sorry, we just totally went off topic. But anyway,
But no, that's the part of yes, and she knows to marry before you carry.
and I
So
said that those things, all the boyfriend girlfriend things, like your body is special, right? Like we talk about your body being special, and that is for your husband. That is.
Mhm.
And she's like,
Mhm.
okay, so I'm like, yeah, they
she's
can.
like, "Wait, ma, I was just saying that."
Yeah. Just so you know, that we're gonna keep having these conversations. So yeah. So
So you don't forget. I like that
Um,
marry before you carry. That is that a
mhm.
that's very good. I will be using that for sure.
that would be so I don't well, that's
Yeah.
the next topic, like how we got to where we are right now, but yeah.
Or my mom would say, make sure you keep one foot on the floor. Anyway,
Now all right, we
that's a
gotta
whole
go to
nother
Abraham
conversation.
and Sarah and find out what because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Says the woman who's like one of 16. Like,
we can still
Wow.
get it done with one. I gotta ask your mom. We gotta, yeah, tell us about that.
well, baby, I'm sorry, I can't ask her now, but that would be a very I'm gonna look that up. Let me ask around. I'm gonna have to ask some older ladies, like, what does
Like,
that
what did
mean?
that mean?
Where did
Yeah.
that originate?
I bet we could Google it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's
All
one of them
right,
things.
ladies.
All
Yes. So we're
right.
gonna do that exercise for the next episode.
Okay,
Absolutely.
bet.
Right.
All right. See y'all next
Okay.
time.
Bye.